Speed Channel's coverage of the Star Mazda series is brought to you by Goodyear Assurance, featuring triple tread technology. And by Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. After years of helping young drivers achieve their dreams, this is undoubtedly the most exciting season for a great championship. Welcome to round one of the 2004 Star Mazda Series from Sebring, Florida. I'm Lee Diffie along with Johnny O'Connell and Brian Till. We'll talk more about the exciting news in just a moment, but first let's take a look at the highlights of 2003.
Mike McDowell with a huge lead in that blue and white number 11. Still very, very smooth. I don't think he's put a wheel wrong all afternoon. Changes down, comes around the final corner, heading up the main straightaway toward the checkered flag. Mike McDowell will have led all 16 laps this afternoon. McDowell is your winner in the season opener for the Star Mazda Pro Series, the North American Championship. Final time around this 1 mile racetrack in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Not far from the Andretti family compound, Moses Smith will add his name to the list of winners at Nazareth Speedway. Fist in the air, Moses Smith grabs the victory in the second Star Mazda race of 2003. Our winner, Moses Smith, has been disqualified. His car was illegal. Quickly up over the hill, heading toward turn one at Laguna. Schiavo, the early leader. Oh, trouble. Phil Fox Sr. in that white 59 contact. Steve Cook in the 32 gets hit. He's broken an axle. He goes around, just avoids the concrete. This is the team, of course, that Guy Cosmo won the championship with a year ago. And Luis picking right up where Guy left off, seemingly.
And it looks like Luis is going to get a win for his sponsor, Rotelli, and they'll all be eating at a restaurant tonight. A really nice job, these three guys using all the road. Moses got a run, and it looks like McDowell lost that position. Moses is looking beautiful for this finish here.
Off of turn 12 to the stripe, and Moses Smith is your winner. McDowell is second. Schiavo gets home in third spot. Schiavo has emerged as the only challenger to Moses Smith. Mike McDowell fading back from this lead battle, trying to get around Swanton in turn 7 before they get to the S's, and he gets it done.
Oh, but he went way wide there.
And Luis Schiavo has gotten by. Schiavo has managed to get by Moses Smith in that exchange.
Hey, he's going to win a race, man. You know, he was at the right place at the right time. Bad luck for Moses, but Luis, man, awesome run today, and you know, he's smiling, and someone else is cursing. Oh, good looking to the inside.
He wants second from Moses Smith. Big bang wheels and allows McDowell to get through. Moses back to third. Just a couple of laps to go, working lap 20 of a 23-lap event. Here comes Moses Smith now. He's going to try to draft and blow by the 11 of McDowell, and he may have it.
You know, and that pass happened in the last previous corner, because McDowell, when he made, oh, look at him take a peek to the inside.
As we watch race leader Luis Schiavo with a huge advantage. Final couple of corners, a flag-to-flag win's pretty rare in Star Mazda, Johnny.
You know, I can't remember the last time I saw a performance this dominating by anyone. He's certainly got a lot to celebrate.
Here's another look at what happens. Oh, looks like he had a left rear tire down. Wow, what a big hit. Rudolph up in the air. And Michael McDowell, it appears, if he can bring it home safely, will go to victory lane. It would be his second win of the season, his third pole. He'll score the maximum points, Johnny, and this really tightens up the championship chase quite a bit.
Doing everything he needed to do, and same Schiavo, good race, Jamie Baca, good race, and as we watch, you know, McDowell, and he's going to go take the checker.
Schiavo up through the gears as they take the green flag and head down into what is turn 2, the Andretti hairpin. This is McDowell in 5th position. He's lost a spot going into the first couple of corners. 3 wide at one point back there. Oh, and look, trouble. Schiavo has gone around. The pole sitter has spun.
Moses making a move on the outside. It's so difficult to do going into this hairpin, but he's got position.
Monacan hanging right with him, but Moses Smith quicker by far on the outside, and he gets the lead.
That was a huge pass by Moses.
Championship leader Luis Schiavo up to 4th after spinning and falling back to 17th on lap 1. Schiavo with 3 wins. He comes off a 2nd spot at Road America several weeks ago.
There's Moses. Nicely done.
acknowledging his crew along the pit straightaway here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. It'll be Bach for third. Schiavo will have to settle for fourth, and that will allow Smith to close up the points chase tremendously. Moses to the inside, trying to move to the front right away, but they're 4 wide momentarily. On trouble. Couple of cars right off, and Moses with a hard impact into the soft wall. Jamie Bach hooked up with him there. Mike McDowell has gone around as well. He gets into one of the signs on the inside of turn 1. McDowell back underway, but 2 of the contenders straight off at turn 1, John. Schiavo, a very outgoing young man, very versatile, and that certainly will stand him in good stead. And the checkered flag is in the air. Luis Schiavo caps off a championship season by winning the finale here at Road Atlanta. He was so excited he went off the racetrack.
I was just looking at that and saying, man, you're not going to try a 360.
Certainly was an eventful season, an exciting season, and the driver who steered clear of most of the mayhem and performed the best, 4 times race winner Luis Schiavo returns in 2004 to defend his #1 plate. Someone keen to push him all the way was last year's Rookie of the Year, Mike McDowell. 2 wins last year, looking to make it more this year and go all the way to become the Star Mazda champion. Moses Smith, a series veteran, he returns. Many think that he was unlucky not to win the championship last year. He did clinch 2 race wins, however. He's back to see if he can clinch the title. Mike Potikin, second at Sebring last year. That was his best result of the 2003 season. We'll see what he can come up with. And Jamie Bach returns as well. 3 podiums in 03 with a high point at Nazareth. A new name to the series, but not a new motorsport name. Brian Frisell comes from the Barber Racing Series, and Dan DiLeo fresh from the Barber Dodge Pro Series. He'll be one to watch this year. Johnny, talk us around this great circuit.
Lee, 52 years young, Sebring International Raceway has for me always been one of my favorite circuits, and that's because you have great combinations of corners. You have fast corners, you have slow corners, and medium speed corners, but to get around Sebring fast, you have to be really good going into the hairpin, turn number 7. That's where a lot of overtaking is going to happen. But then great out of 16, going into 17, because that's where the cars will draft and make their passes.
We need to leave from Sebring just for a moment for a quick break. When we return, we'll go racing.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a 4-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keene, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
The Star Mazda Series is brought to you by Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make.
Welcome back to Sebring. As always, a great crowd here on the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring weekend, and this is the season opener for the Star Mazda Series. We've got lots to talk about these new cars, but first up, it's an all-rookie front row. Dan DiLeo and Brian Frisell, both guys topping the timesheets all week long. Moses Smith and last year's Sebring winner Mike McDowell make up the second row. We move back to row 3, and it's Mike Potikin and John Green. Keep an eye on John Green. We've got more to you about this young driver as well throughout the course of the race. Scott Jenkins and Tom Nastasi make up row 4, and back on the 5th row is Mickey Gilbert and Mike Anderson, who had a storming drive here at Sebring last year.
And as you look at the rest of the grid, Lee, you know, some interesting guys that you notice right there. In 14th, Jamie Bach. We have seen him totally on fire at this racetrack, running at the front. Very talented guy, but most importantly, Luis Schiavo, last year's champion, starting 18th. He's got his work cut out for him.
Now, Johnny, the most important piece of information we need to get across right now as we're getting close to the start of this season opener is brand new cars. I'll let you tell some more as we see the field grid up.
And they're just beautiful. I mean, for 20 years they were running the old Star Mazda cars. These new cars are built by Van Diemen. You know, it's got a different engine in it. It's got the Mazda Renesis engine in it. It's 240 horsepower. These cars get closer to Atlanta cars every year. We'll talk about it more during this race and as the season goes on. but by far the best deal in motorsports is Star Mazda Racing.
The pole sitter is Dan DiLeo in the Star race cars, the blue machine on the left-hand side. His pole time was in excess of 8 seconds faster than the 2003 Sebring Star Mazda pole. Simply incredible. They work their way towards the green. The 2004 Star Mazda Series is underway, and Brian Frisell, outside pole, got a nice jump.
Amazingly slow start. I think that kind of shows that these guys are rookies, and it's going to be interesting as we go through turn 1 here at Sebring. Very fast corner. It's going to be interesting to see how things pan out as you go into turn 3, because there will be overtaking there.
On board with a 16-year-old Brad Coleman, receiving plenty of tutelage from sports car racing star Price Cobb. And he's right in the thick of it.
And they're side by side right there. If you're wondering why Coleman, he's off in the dirt here. You know, he's trying to give room to his other competitors. Like seeing that, though. A young kid goes off in the grass. He never lifted.
John Green flashed on by. Brian Frisell leads the way from DiLeo. Look at this, McDowell under the brakes. Oh, contact! McDowell has hit Brian Frisell, and he's off.
Boy, you know, hard to see really what went on there. I mean, Frisell looked like he was really good. He had control of the corner, and probably never knew that McDowell was coming down the inside that aggressively. I didn't see McDowell lock up. I don't know whether he was trying to get both of them or not, but right now you got McDowell in the lead.
McDowell leads from Dan DiLeo. Moses Smith slots into the number 3 spot. Then Scott Jenkins sits there, and he's holding off. There's Mike Anderson a little further back. And that's Mike Potikin that he's forcing off as well.
You know, a lot of names that we've heard in the past here, but really, what really was going to be interesting is for all these drivers and teams, these new cars, getting used to them, what they can do, how hard you can push in the early laps. It's all things that these guys are going to be learning, paying attention to at Sebring and carrying on the rest of the year.
Nice start from Anderson. He started back in 10th, so he's already gained many positions on this opening lap. Very frantic opening lap. Whoa, look at this. Moses Smith gets a little sideways, and Jenkins comes right up on him.
Takes so little in these cars. Any little bit mistake that guy in front of you makes, you try to pounce right away. We saw Moses get a little bit sideways there. Potikin, and we've got it almost 3 wide there. Potikin really using the draft here on the inside line. Should be looking good going into 17.
Oh, tight there with Scott Jenkins. So he loses that one. Potikin moves up to the 4th spot, and Mike Anderson comes storming through as well. So it's a pretty fast pace on the opening lap, but let's take a look at the opening lap contact between Frisell and McDowell.
Well, and a beautiful move here by McDowell, moving to the inside. He's got a great line, but I think he got a little bit too greedy there, thinking maybe he could get 2, has contact with Frisell. You know, you feel lousy for Frisell because he was doing everything right, probably never saw McDowell coming at him.
And McDowell now leads the way from Dan DiLeo and Moses Smith. Plenty more from Sebring when we return. Welcome back to Sebring. You're watching Speed Channel's coverage of the opening round of the 04 Star Mazda Series for the North American Championship. Here is race leader Mike McDowell, last year's Rookie of the Year. He's part of the Star Race Cars group, doing a nice job out in front. He's got quite a healthy margin over poleman Dan DiLeo, but he was involved in an incident earlier. Let's get an update from Brian Till.
Well, outside front row, Brian Frisell spun on that opening lap. Disappointment for him, but you got to remember, he is a rookie. Very little racing, only done a few years, and we can see some damage to the right rear upright, actually a crack in it from that spin. I believe his day is going to be over. You can see over there on the far right-hand side, that silver crack in the upright really shows up well there. See this crack down here over the curb, probably did that damage. He'll be getting out of the car. His race is over. Disappointment for the first race of the season, but with the performance that he's put in, count on him being back. Guys?
A lot of composure there. I'd have been pretty ticked off because I got to tell you, you know what? He just got nailed by our current race leader, and that really pisses you off. You know, you turn into a corner, you're leading a race, you get taken off, and then the guy that punched you is leading. Every time you look out on that racetrack, you're filled with total anger. Now, I guarantee you Frisell's going to be back, and as quick as he was showing at the start of that race, I guarantee you we'll see good things from him.
There's John Faulkner, who has spun down in turn 17. That's Luis Schiavo's teammate. Schiavo, meanwhile, making his way back through from 18th. Johnny, so far, there's been a short amount of time go by since we see that opening lap contact between McDowell and Frisell. Nothing from the race officials yet. Do you expect anything?
You know, you really don't. I mean, again, remember, this is a training series. These guys are going to have the occasional mistake and all that kind of stuff, but also remember how hungry these guys are. We're not talking drivers that are, you know, in their mid-30s that have gained a lot of, you know, wisdom and maturity. These are 20-year-old kids that are completely psychotic. And so, you know, McDowell, and they showed that. I mean, he showed the aggressiveness that you want to see of a young guy you know, but as he gains, you know, more and more experience, a more experienced guy would have just held that one position, making his move on DiLeo, as we see more passing.
Nice
going here
work.
into turn 7. But you know, there's a lot. Championships are won with wisdom, and right now, I think that, you know, my guy that I'm picking, I think is going to be Moses. He's been doing this for so long, and he knows his cars. Fast driver, and you know, time will tell.
Nice bunch of 5 here. Glenn Bacchino and Richard Fulton, Ross Smith, Kurt Rohring and Bob Kaminsky all fighting it out. Let's take a replay look at the Faulkner spin, Johnny.
On his own, and you know, one of the wonderful things about Sebring, as you heard me mention, 52 years old. This is an old Air Force base, and that part of the circuit right there is so darn bumpy. It is one of the physically challenging parts of Sebring. I guarantee you, he hit a bump as he was doing the down change, lost the rear end.
Further down the field, this is the battle for 17th going on. They've left the other 3 guys behind. That's Smith in the 20, pushing Glenn Bacchino as hard as he can. I think that's another thing that we see. I mean, it's characteristic of Star Mazda, but particularly with these new cars, the competition just goes right through the field, Johnny.
Oh, very much so, and everyone's on a learning curve. You know, I guarantee you one thing, those guys running at the front have done a lot of testing. As we look at turn 1 here, you know, they've done a lot of testing. They've learned what these cars like. Those guys in the back have not learned the sweet spot for these cars yet.
On board with John Green. Let's take a listen.
Boy, he did a really nice job through that corner. I mean, I think he might have put himself in position to make a pass going in the hairpin. It looked like he had a good exit.
Smith finally makes the move on Bacchino, so he nails that. It's a little further down the line, though, but he moves up to 17th position. Back on board with Green. Pushing hard. He's pushing Scott Jenkins. You can't see him. He's off to the right. There's Jenkins now. John Green won that ride in this car this weekend with a runoff style situation against other competitors from regional Star Mazda series around the country. So congratulations to him. That's a nice job.
Well, and you like to see, you know, talent get rewarded. This is not an easy sport to compete in because it does take a lot of money. And, you know, you like to see those guys that God gave that natural, you know, gift to have the opportunity to show what they can do. And Green right now certainly is. Now, it kind of surprises me, and we're going to have to watch when we get to the front guys. But as you notice through this area right here, 15, 15A, 15B, 16, you know, the guys aren't using the curbs. Well, they're using them right there, but they're not using the curbs at the apex. And when you watch us go around in our Corvette or the Audis or any of the guys that are really pushing hard, always using the curbs in that area because they're not that aggressive. They don't upset the car too much. So it'll be interesting when we get back to McDowell to see how guys like him are running that part of the circuit.
Speaking of McDowell, there's his teammate Nick Steele right there. Nice job in the Star Race Cars entry. He's working his way up through the order. And he's got Mickey Gilbert to tangle with next, and then John Green as he works his way forward. Scott Jenkins still doing a nice job holding Green at bay.
You know, one thing I really like watching here, Lee, is and again, having watched these cars, my goodness, going on 20 years now, the guys still slide them. And to me, that was always one of the coolest things about Star Mazda Racing is that your top guys really work in the car. You know, they don't have total, you know, they've got amazing ground effects, but the combination is such that you can still get away with sliding them to be fast. As we see right here, setting up to make a move into the hairpin.
John Green on Scott Jenkins. Can't quite make it stick.
Oh, but look, he's got it. He got it. By taking that peak, he threw his competitor's concentration off, got him in too deep. Nicely done.
So John Green finally gets him one position up. Time to take a quick break from Sebring, but when we return, we'll continue to tell you more about these fabulous new cars that make up the 04 Star Mazda Championship. Welcome back to Sebring. The Star Mazda season opener continues as we ride on board with the 10th place Jamie Bach with some serious new sponsorship from Sirius.
Oh, and a nice peek down on the inside of Jenkins there going into turn 10. You know, Jenkins really had done all that he could to keep Bach back there, defending his line, doing a really nice job. But right now, I think that, oh, look at Schiavo making a move on Bach there.
Reigning champion Luis Schiavo coming up from 18th on the grid. They had problems earlier in the weekend, but there is no stopping the Caracas kid now.
And doing a really nice job moving up through the field there. I mean, to make a move like that on Bach was quite impressive.
Back up front, you look at Mike McDowell, race leader. Here's the new boy to the series, but he's certainly not new to open wheel racing. Dan DiLeo, after 2 very successful seasons in the Bubba Dodge Pro Series. He finished 3rd last year, 4th the year previous, racing against the likes of AJ Allmendinger. And now he brings his skills to the Star Mazda Series. Great addition to the championship.
A great addition indeed, and look at him, you know, really pushing McDowell. Now, McDowell, if we remember last year, ran and hid from everybody. Right now, DiLeo seems to be able to stay with him, you know, and, you know, as you watch McDowell's car, it certainly does not at this point seem like there was any damage done, you know, from that first lap incident. And so, you know, I mean, those guys are just cutting out from everybody else.
DiLeo runs a little wide, gets out in the dirt. McDowell had up to about a 6-second margin not that long ago, so either DiLeo is running some very good times or McDowell is slowing somewhat, but good for us, they're close together. Now let's hear from the man who makes this series tick.
Gary Rodriguez is president of the Star Mazda Series. And Gary, I know these cars have been out there for a long time, the old cars. I actually drove one back in 1986, but the new car, you've got to be so proud of what it is that you guys have put together.
Absolutely. At the first meeting on Monday night with the drivers, I said, welcome to my dream. This is just terrific. 14 years of hard work, and we've become an overnight success.
How many can you build? How many can you field when you go to the racetracks?
We are currently sold at about 70 cars. We've delivered 40 so far, and because of the 2 prototypes we built, we were able to get 42. So we had a 34-car field to start the weekend. I think that it's realistic. We should see some field sizes in the high 40s, possibly into the 50s.
Absolutely remarkable. Set your VCRs and your TiVo boxes. It's a race you're not going to want to miss. 40 cars.
It's already been great so far. Johnny, we've been mentioning lots about the new cars. They run differently, they look different. Talk us through some of the key features.
Well, they're amazing, and really I think Gary Rodriguez right there was being a little bit on the humble side. I mean, he is so responsible, and his family, for making Star Mazda Racing what it is, and coming up with this concept of a new car, a carbon fiber tub built by Van Diemen, lighter, stronger, safer for all the drivers, much more modern. And look, and I mean, when you look last year, pole was at a 2:08. Now they're almost in a minute 59. I mean, these cars are flying, but it's a 240 horsepower Mazda Renesas rotary engine. Basically the same engine out of the Mazda RX-8. It's now got a sequential gearbox. So, you know, rather than your standard H pattern, it's a 6-speed. Just pull it back or push it forward to go up the gears. You know, it's just really a beautiful race car. They got adjustable shock sway bars, but it still retains the same theory of Star Mazda Racing in that they're keeping it very inexpensive and just amazing race cars anyone can compete in.
No disrespect to the previous cars, but these things are real race cars. We'll be back. Round 1 of the 2004 Star Mazda Series for the North American Championship continues. We ride with the youth. 16-year-old Brad Coleman doing a nice job, currently 13th.
Amazing, 16 years old and competing at this level. I mean, obviously a lot of people see some very good things in him, and as we watch, let's pay attention just to what his technique's like and how he's getting around the circuit.
We go back to the front and look at this. Dan DiLeo is right there with Mike McDowell. And again, just to finish that point on Brad Coleman, he now lives with Price Cobb, former Le Mans 24-hour winner, and his wife, and is getting the full treatment there as far as learning all about professional race car driving. And And we'll keep an eye out for Brad Coleman in the future. Meanwhile, this battle is intensifying. McDowell, who was a runaway winner here last year, one of his 2 race wins in 2003, he's certainly not running away with it this year.
Definitely not. And one of the things the competitors talked about before the race was tire wear. Okay, guys have not done very long runs here, certainly in race condition. And again, this is the first race with these cars. So you know what might be happening with McDowell is him losing the edge on his tires, and maybe DiLeo using a little bit better tire wear from him.
McDowell's teammate Nick Steele slips up the inside of Mickey Gilbert and grabs 7th. And you see in the background there, Luis Schiavo continues his amazing run from 18th. He's now in 9th.
And doing a great job. I mean, I guarantee as last year's champion, he is focused on what's going on here. He wants to get back to the front.
Look at this. It's only a matter of time before Schiavo clicks another one off. And speaking of the Venezuelan, let's hear from his crew chief.
Well, John Meraki is the crew chief for Luis Schiavo, the defending champion in the Star Mazda Series, but a brand new car. I don't think learning the brand new car is what put Luis back in qualifying. He qualified 18th, but he's now inside the top 10. Can he get to the front?
Yeah, I think he can get to the front. We really had some mechanical issues in late practice and qualifying. We had speed earlier on in the week, so we know he's fast enough. We know the car's fast enough. We just had some problems. We got those sorted out for the race, and it looks like he's on the way.
Well, I know that he wants to win a championship again, but do you tell him as far back as he started, just get what you can get, collect points, and we'll go on towards the championship, or do you tell him to try to win the thing?
We tell him to push as hard as he can and keep the car on the track. We don't want him going off. We obviously don't want him spinning, but we tell him to push as hard as he can and try to win the race.
Well, that's part of being a crew chief. How much do you spur the guy on? How much do you pull the reins back? You want the championship at the end, guys?
Well, exactly, and look at this. We watch with much interest as Mike McDowell fends off Dan DiLeo. The margin between these two has been dramatically reduced. It's now within a car, and DiLeo is as close as he's ever been to Mike McDowell. He pulls out of the draft alongside McDowell. It looks like we've got a new race leader. Dan DiLeo, the pole man, finally gets back in front.
And beautifully done. I mean, that pass started in turn 17. He got a better run out of it than McDowell did. Got tucked up underneath him, used the draft, pulled out to the inside of one. Out, just a beautiful job by him.
Dan DiLeo, as we mentioned, he's a rookie to the series, but certainly not a rookie to high-powered open-wheel racing cars. This battle continues between Luis Schiavo and Mickey Gilbert. There's Nick Steele just up ahead in 7th. Schiavo in the number 1, the red car, trying to squeeze through and move up to 8th. He's done an amazing job. Johnny, what's that like when you come from as far back as 18th on the grid? You're the reigning champion, you know you're quick, you just got to keep clicking them off.
Well, it's patience, and you know, the thing is, he's really got to ride off winning this race. Unless there's a full car's caution, it's not going to happen. So what he's got to do is, you know, get by these guys as cleanly as he possibly can, gain knowledge for the rest of the year, but most importantly, get as high up as he can, get the points, and come away from here a lot stronger and better looking. I mean, remember, he started 18th, so he's looking really good right now.
Lap 11. We're already over the halfway mark of the season opener. And Mickey Gilbert has the reigning champion all over him.
Never easy this time of year because you don't know what other drivers are capable of or what their tendencies are. So a lot of time, if you're in a guy like Schiavo's position, you don't want to make those moves.
More from Sebring in a moment.
Hi there, I'm Tom Natchu, and this is Greg Kramer. We're called the old bastards of racing in many circles. You know, I guess we met back in the late 1980s.
Easy. It had to be at least that far back. Glory day of some racing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Trans Am was a part of the picture, and actually I learned to do pro announcing from this man around the Trans Am Championship. Oh, that is a long time ago.
A very long time ago, but I'll tell you what, you take a look at Trans Am racing in the early 90s in particular, the names that were running at that time. But the other side of the story was World Challenge was really starting to come alive at that point. And the names in that, there were sometimes you'd look at the two rosters and go, you know, I'm not sure which one is the most talent. Some amazing stuff from those decades past. And of course, a lot of those drivers also doubling up, running amateur racing in the runoffs. And it was spectacular stuff.
Now, GoRacingTV has got all of that action, Trans Am World Challenge, and even some runoff material, all coming up over the next season. That's going to be something to watch.
I know, to be able to relive those 2 decades of motorsports from the Sports Car Club of America's Pro Racing Department, Trans Am World Challenge, and then you include the National Amateur Championships, the runoff, the intense battles that unfolded there. It simply doesn't get any better than that, and it lives again right here on GoRacingTV.com.
Because I need to spend more time in front of my computer.
Welcome back to Sebring as the season opener for the 2004 Star Mazda Series continues. And look at the lead gap now. Dan DiLeo has pulled away from Mike McDowell. Meanwhile, this battle for 7th continues between Green and Mickey Gilbert, and Luis Schiavo slices through on the inside. Now he switches angles as well. There's no stopping Luis Schiavo.
You know, beautiful move by both those guys making the pass going into 17, and killer move by Schiavo using the better exit out of 17, making the move going into turn 1. Oh, I see him getting loose though.
Wow, Luis Schiavo almost lost it. You heard from his crew chief before. They said they want him to push as hard as he can, but keep it on the track. He almost went off the track. Nick Steele goes through shot. Good to see him back in the series after a 5-year absence, and he comes back at a very exciting time with the new cars, and he's running in a very strong 6th at the moment. Now Green comes back on Schiavo.
You know, and a nice move, but he started it too early, because that's an area where Schiavo has plenty of time to adjust. What you want to do is wait till that guy in front of you just gets on the brakes, then you pull out and make your move. So it's just a little bit early, one of those things he's going to learn as the season goes on.
So this might not be for a podium spot, but the racing is hot at the moment. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Tremendous battle at the moment. And when we talk about new cars to the series, there's also going to be some new teams. Brian Till has more.
You see a lot of interesting people around the paddock. Richie Hurd, former Toyota Atlantic champion, spent some time in Champ Cars, even finished 3rd at the Indianapolis 500, but looks like you're trading in your driving suit for another kind of suit.
Well, hopefully not permanently, but I'm definitely going to get into the ownership role here in the Formula Mazda series. And, you know, I got a young driver, Rafael Matos, that won the Formula Dodge Championship last year, that hopefully we can join these guys at the next race and have some fun.
You certainly have a lot of experience in motorsports. Why this series? Why did you come here? You could have taken your driver to many other places.
Well, when I saw him test the new car, I was pretty impressed by the development that they have been doing, the step they're taking, and the cost of running this series is very inexpensive. And the TV package that Mazda has put together with Goodyear, you know, I'm going to be here for a while, and I'm really looking forward to being part of this group.
Well, I'm pretty impressed with not only the depth of the talent as far as the drivers go, but the team owners as well. It just keeps getting deeper.
Johnny, as a former competitor in this series, I know that you are very impressed by the cost package for this series.
Well, you know, when you look at Formula Car racing, it really is, in my mind, the best place for young guys to learn their craft. But when you look at what's going on in the States, you got Formula Atlantic, it's dying. I mean, they don't have many cars there. It's $1.5 million, $2 million to compete. Who can compete there? Only the rich guys. You know, you got Barber Dodge, Pro Dodge. Okay, again, boom, that's dying too. And then Gary Rodriguez comes up with his Star Mazda formula, these new cars at $70-some-odd thousand. And for the first race, you have 33 cars starting. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing. It appeals to everyone, and it is really an area where young talent can come, show off what they got to manufacturers in the American Le Mans Series, and have a potential career, whether it be in single-seaters running in the IRL or in sports cars running with the ALMS. It's totally cool and smart what they've done.
You mentioned the American Le Mans Series. I just wanted to mention something before I forget it, that our pole sitter, Dan DiLeo, we said that his time was some 8.5 or something like that seconds quicker than last year's pole time. Well, his pole time would have put him 12th on the ALMS grid for the Sebring 12-hour.
Well, and that's what you want. You want to, you know, you want these cars to be fast so the guys learn about speed. As they get into sports cars, they have to learn a little bit about mass and momentum. The technique is a little bit different, but you got to get that brain used to going fast.
Dan DiLeo out in front. He's certainly going fast, and he's got a healthy margin over Mike McDowell. Is McDowell running into troubles? We'll follow up on that when we return. Speeds coverage of Star Mazda from Sebring continues. You look at the number 2 of Mike McDowell, sits second at the moment, but losing ground to Dan DiLeo. Meanwhile, you see the red car of Moses Smith starting to gain ground on Mike McDowell. Looks for an inside run on that lapped car. and then goes the outside line. Moses Smith.
Oh, God, that was close.
That was close. Let's get an update on McDowell. Here's Brian.
I just checked in with Gary Rodriguez on Michael McDowell, and the drop from the lead for him. He seems not to be able to chase down Dan DiLeo. Seems that they have some type of detonation problem in that engine. It could be that the electrical problem, the computer problem that they had in qualifying may be back. They're not sure. The engine detonating a little bit down the front straightaway. That robs horsepower from the engine and allows him not to make that challenge for the lead.
You know, he's got some sort of problem. I don't know whether that's it or not, but I mean, I was watching him as he went through turn 13 a couple corners ago, and that left front tire is kind of folding under it a little bit. So I don't know, he might have a detonation problem, but I think he also might have a handling problem, because he certainly did not put up any sort of fight for Moses there. With an engine problem, normally you put up a much bigger fight.
It's been a long time. I mean, many laps ago, some 15 laps ago, but that's the side that he hit Frizzell. Do you think, is that too long for that, or?
You know, I mean, it's slow leaks or whatever. Now, one of the cool things that we got on our, Corvette is that we got those pressure sensor deals. So it'll always let you know if you got a slow leak or whatever. And that might be what's going on, but then again, I might be totally wrong.
We're within the last few laps here at Sebring. We go back on board with John Green. He sits 10th. And has had a good, strong run here today at the historic Sebring circuit. Look at this, Scott Jenkins just got a little bit out of shape there, and Green pounces.
Totally, and that's what we were talking about earlier. It does not take much of a mistake to enable a guy to make a pass on you, because you kill him right. Oh, there goes Jenkins. Oh, man. You know, it's so many times. Oh, Jenkins runs in a little deep. Able to hold him off.
Great racing between Scott Jenkins and John Green. Meanwhile, there's Moses Smith. Third now is Mike McDowell. Can he hang on? The one-time race leader, here comes Mike Potigan, not too far behind, so McDowell is falling into the clutches, that's for sure.
Well, it looks like Moses is actually catching up to DiLeo in the front there a little bit. Again, you know, a lot of these guys talked about tire wear, and look at Moses slide the car. God, I love seeing that. But, you know, these guys were talking about saving the tires to the end of the race. That guy that did the best job is going to win it. And look right there, Moses is closing the gap.
Smith receiving some extra help this weekend from Guy Cosmo, the 2002 Star Mazda champion. We'll be back. You're watching the first of 10 races for the 2004 Star Mazda Series. Lee Diffie with ALMS star Johnny O'Connell. I should say ALMS champion now, Johnny O'Connell. And Brian Till working the pits here at Sebring. Race leader Dan DiLeo out in front, but the charging Moses Smith is really on a roll.
Well, and you know what? When I watch a race, what I do is I see what the gap is from guys coming out of corners. And you go back 4 or 5 laps ago, and Moses was well behind DiLeo. And right now, he is pushing so hard to close that gap. He's gotten a lot closer if he gets the right traffic caution or whatever.
Whoa!
Who was that? Was that
Mike
McDowell?
McDowell went way off at 16 and has been able to gather it back up. Potigan goes by, but that was a lucky escape for Mike McDowell.
Holding on big time. Again, you know that you go off there, and it is very bumpy. You got some rumble strips that certainly work to your favor, give you a couple extra feet, but you know, right out there where he went, he was lucky he kept it on the track.
You pointed before the last commercial break, Johnny, you pointed to the front left. Do you see anything wrong there?
You know, really hard to tell. I mean, I've been watching, I can't tell as we see McDowell from another view. Really, it shows you what a rough ride that is going through the dirt. So I don't know whether it is or not, but again, you know, he's falling back through the field pretty fast, could be handling, likely handling because he did go off there, but you know, we'll see.
Whoa, you can see the front left now, Johnny.
And it is done, so yeah, I guess we call that one right.
What a shame for Mike McDowell, as he now has to fight an ill-handling car with a flat front left.
And that is so hard to do, because once that stuff starts flapping like it is right now, I mean, it's going to damage the suspension. There it is, it's locked up. Oh my goodness, that's so frustrating.
How tough is that to wrestle that and nurse it back home?
Well, it's huge, and I mean, you're on the radio letting the guys know what a huge problem you have. You know you're close to the end of the race. Do you pit? Do you try to, you know, soldier on and get what points you can? It's just very difficult.
This is frustrating stuff for one of our championship hopefuls. He is going to be one of the main contenders this year, as was the case last year. And this could be the man that he'll fight all the way. Dan DiLeo is working his way towards the white flag at Sebring. What a way to come into the championship, and continues the trend because the last 2 years, rookies have won the opening race of the series, and DiLeo could very well be the third.
And driving brilliantly, it looks like he's opening up that gap to Moses again, so he might have just been chilling out in traffic, but he's been doing a real nice job. As we get back to DiLeo versus McDowell, you know, one of the things McDowell had been doing when he was leading was dropping wheels in front of DiLeo going through turn 7. That's kind of one of those things Guy will do to keep a guy behind him. You know, DiLeo showed total concentration, composure, and right now he's doing an amazing job.
3.7 miles to go for Dan DiLeo, and he will be a Star Mazda race winner in these brand new cars. What a way to start his campaign.
You know, and something really cool, because I remember someone telling me that, you know, 2 guys helping him out this weekend are Rick and Steve Cameron, and a lot of people in Formula Atlantic notice that as Lynx Racing. I just noticed that DiLeo's number is number 19. Both the Cameron brothers are so good at open wheel stuff. I actually landed the championship with Rick Cameron running my car, and the fact that he's running up at the front there, as you see with McDowell right there, he's going to stay out, soldier on, get the points that he can. But Rick Cameron and Steve Cameron obviously have helped out DiLeo, and he is showing what he can do.
He's been very, very smooth. Hasn't been the fastest all week in terms of the practice sessions. Brian Frissell certainly showed what he had to offer. It was a shame that we lost him on the opening lap, but Brian Frissell is a name we will be talking about lots more throughout season 2004. But DiLeo laid down the fast time when it counted in qualifying and has not looked back. Seemed to be patient. He drove very patiently, didn't he, when he was fighting McDowell?
You know, again, he's a rookie to the series, but the cat's got a lot of experience, and he is showing it here. I mean, when you go against guys like Skiabel, McDowell, you know, and Moses, you know, you're talking about guys that know these cars, know the formula, how to win races here. The fact that he's coming in first time, well, it reminds you of McDowell. McDowell came in very fast, had his head together, won here at Sebring, went on to have a great season. I expect the same out of DiLeo.
Our race leader Dan DiLeo on the way home. We just saw a shot of Moses Smith. Very pleased for him to grab second in his new car, new sponsor. American Speed Factory is the team. 3-Dimensional Services, his sponsor. They will be delighted with his efforts the opening round of the 2004 season. Moses Smith, a guy that should very well have been, some say, Star Mazda champion by now. Maybe it will be his turn in 2004, but it's this guy's turn at Sebring. Dan DiLeo from the Barber Dodge Pro Series to Star Mazda and to victory lane. Well done. DiLeo takes the win at Sebring from Moses Smith, and Mike Potikin will come across to grab third. But there he is, the new boy, and goes straight to the top. Pole to the checkered flag. Terrific effort.
It's a great feeling. You know that guy's feeling very proud. What should we say? McDowell struggling on. Boy, I tell you what, he gets a hard luck award today, but I guarantee you there is a cat that's going to win races this year.
Mike McDowell fought to get out in front. He made that really forceful move down the inside. He nailed Brian Frissell, then led, then had to suffer this ill-handling car as Dan DiLeo and Moses Smith and Potikin, the rest of the front runners, went by. He refused to come into pit lane. He's fought this car, and a mighty effort to struggle to the checkered flag to grab whatever points he can to begin his new season. So Mike McDowell, one-time race leader, comes across the line. We'll come back in just a moment to hear from our winner.
The club, an amateur racer. Here at GoRacingTV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
The Star Mazda series is brought to you by Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make.
There you see a dejected Mike McDowell at the end of the race. But time now to hear from our winner.
Dan DiLeo rolls to a stop. He gets a congratulations from his crew. From the pole to the checkered flag. 3 years in a row, a rookie has won the race here at Sebring, the Star Mazda race, as DiLeo gets out of his car. It's got to be a special one for him. Finished third in the Barber Dodge Pro Series last year with a win at Laguna Seca. He's going to be getting his helmet off here. Very, very special win. Does it come any better as he gets the medal? Dan, what a job, buddy, from pole to the checkered flag. Did it scare you a little bit there at the beginning when McDowell was able to jump out to a lead?
Hey, I mean, it didn't scare me, but it was a little bit of an optimistic move. I knew the race is 45 minutes, you know. You're not going to win the race on the first lap. Everyone did a great job. You know, the lappers did a good job getting out of my way. I can't thank Valley Motorsports enough and Star Race Cars. My mechanics, Keith, Sean, the Camerons, my father, everybody, thanks a lot.
Brand new race car. You learned a lot out there today because the car was out there for a long time. The balance changed much in these hot conditions?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, Stevie Cameron and I went over the, you know, basically strategy early on, and we knew that it was going to be a long race. If we had a lead, we had to, you know, save tires and basically take it from there. You know, I think it was Moses coming on at the end. I knew I had a car underneath me. It was just a matter of putting in a couple laps and, you know, put it away, I guess.
What a very mature drive, and if the drive today is any indication of what the rest of the year will be like, look out, guys. DiLeo, he's strong.
Absolutely. He is going to be one of the front runners consistently all year long. Let's take a look at the results from Sebring. Round 1 of 10 for the 2004 Star Mazda Series. Smith and Potikin, the podium place getters behind Dan DiLeo. Mike Anderson, great run, 10th to 4th. Nick Steele, considering he had tonsillitis this weekend and he's been away for 5 years, nice run to finish in the top 5. Finishing in 10th, Luis Schiavo came from 18th to finish in the top 10. He could have been higher but had some problems late in the race. But the big news, you still haven't seen Mike McDowell. He has been sent back to 32nd after the chief steward decided to take action due to that collision with Brian Frisell. So there you see him in 32nd position. So tough break there. Meanwhile, let's hear from the man who finished second.
Moses Smith, once a winner, always a winner. I know you didn't qualify where you wanted to, but a great drive to second.
Boy, I tell you, the car was awesome. You know, the American Speed Factory, Hasselpool Products, three-dimensional services car was just hooked up today. You know, I mean, we may not have qualified right up front to get that extra point, but, you know, we knew we had a good race car, and as long as we stuck it in there, we'd be there in the end. So I'm really happy, and I just want to say happy birthday to my dad, and it was an awesome race.
Now, you're one of the top finisher out here, one of the few guys that drove the old cars and now the new car. How much difference is there really?
No, I tell you, it's easier to answer what's similar because there's not a whole lot similar. I mean, this is a whole new car, and there's lots of power, lots of great handling, and it's just an awesome car to drive. I mean, I can't say enough. I mean, I got to sit there and remind myself to stop smiling and just drive the darn thing. I mean, it's so much fun. So this is going to be an awesome year. I'm really looking forward to the next 9 races.
Well, looking forward to it. It should be a great series, not just the next 9 races for Moses Smith, but the next 9 races for the entire series. 40-plus cars. Should be a good one, guys.
Congratulations to Moses Smith as we take a look at the top 5 points and maximum for Dan DiLeo. Pole position, the bonus point, and, of course, maximum for his win. Time now to hear from Mike Potikin, the 3rd place getter.
Michael Potikin qualifies 5th, finishes 3rd. Good run for you today, and it's a learning experience, I know. A new car for everybody. You're another guy who drove the old one. Anything you could take from the experience that you had to apply today?
Maybe just the way the race weekend runs. That's about it. The cars and the way that the guys run, but the cars are completely different. It's an awesome car, and much like the 2-liter that I ran in 2001, it's just a completely different car all around. It's an awesome car, awesome engine. I just want to thank all my sponsors, Smith Sunglasses, Eurosport Racing, and everybody that's helped me out to get here. It's just been an awesome weekend, and can't say enough about the cars and what Mazda has done for us here. It's a really neat series, and I think it might take off for us, so it's pretty cool.
Great stuff, Mike Potikin. Well done for his 3rd place. Johnny O'Connell, final thoughts on the opening round.
You know, great for Dan DiLeo. He was the winner of the race, but the real winners to me are Gary Rodriguez and Mazda, man. They have such an amazing series here. It's a pleasure to be a part of it.
There is a huge gap. There's a big break. Great opportunity for the teams to go testing. The next round is not until June 26th at Mid-Ohio, so there's plenty of time for these guys to get their programs back on track and get ready for the next round. On behalf of Brian Till and Johnny O'Connell, I'm Lee Diffie. Thanks for joining us for the opening round of the Star Mazda Series.